Picture this. You're staring at a completely blank screen.
Oh, I know this feeling.
Right. And right in the middle, there's this tiny, blinking cursor. And it almost feels like it's actively mocking you.
It definitely is mocking you.
You've just finished what felt like a truly great client meeting. Or maybe you finally figured out the complex pricing for this massive proposal you've been working on all week.
The hard part should be over.
It should be. The strategy is done. The math is done. But now reality sets in. You have to spend the next 2, maybe 3 hours figuring out how to translate all that brilliant strategy into a perfectly formatted professional document.
Which is just exhausting.
It's totally exhausting. You have to summarize their specific pain points perfectly, map your solutions to those points, and figure out how to write that flawless follow-up email without sounding, desperate or robotic.
Yeah, beyond exhausting. I think every single professional listening to this right now knows exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you get into business to do the actual work, right?
Exactly.
You want to help people build things, solve complex problems. And suddenly you realize that half of your week is completely swallowed up just typing out emails, formatting documents, and wordsmithing.
Wordsmithing is the worst.
It feels like a trap. I remember spending maybe 2 hours last Tuesday just trying to figure out how to tell a client their timeline was unrealistic without making them angry.
Oh, the delicate pushback email.
Yes, you sit there agonizing over whether to use the word regards or best, or whether saying per my last email sounds way too aggressive.
It always sounds aggressive. But
Okay.
okay, let's unpack this, because that exact feeling, that administrative burnout, is why we're here today. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission for you today is incredibly practical. We're looking at some fascinating news source material to uncover exactly how everyday businesses are using AI, specifically tools like ChatGPT.
Right.
We're going to explore how they're using it to completely take over that communication burden, handling nuanced client emails, generating massive proposals, all of it.
And saving hours of time.
Exactly. And the best part, they're doing it in a way that actually makes them sound more human, not less. We've gathered some fantastic sources from the front lines for this.
What are we looking at today?
We're looking at proposal playbooks from Otter RFP, email strategy and meeting intelligence guides from NUDA, and sales communication frameworks. We're going to distill all of it for you.
I'm really looking forward to getting into the weeds on this, because I know a lot of people listening are in a very specific boat.
What do you mean?
Well, we're all aware of AI. We've all seen the massive headlines. Most of us have probably even tinkered with a large language model at some point just to see what it does.
Asking it to write a funny poem or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this huge gap between asking a chatbot to write a haiku about your dog and actually trusting it to handle a high-stakes email to your most important client.
It's intimidating.
Very. It can feel a bit overwhelming trying to figure out how to integrate this into a professional workflow without making a fool of yourself. So before we get into the advanced strategies, let's just ground this.
Ground away.
When we talk about using this for business communication, what exactly is the fundamental shift happening here? Like, explain it to me like I've never opened the website.
That is the perfect place to start. Forget the highly technical definitions for a moment. I want you to think of ChatGPT or any of these language models like a lightning-fast, incredibly well-read intern who is sitting right next to you at your desk.
Okay, an intern.
Right. Now, if you turn to a brand new intern on their very first day and just say, hey, write an email to a client, what are they going to do?
They're going to freeze.
They're going to freeze, panic, and then write something completely generic, stiff, and probably a little boring.
Because they don't know anything yet.
Exactly. They have zero context. They have no idea what you actually want. They don't know the client's history. They don't know the nuances of your product line, and they certainly don't know your personal voice.
So it's garbage in, garbage out.
Precisely. But imagine if you handed that exact same intern your messy, unorganized stream of consciousness notes from a meeting.
Just my rough scribbles.
Just your scribbles. You hand them this legal pad of mess and say, I need you to write a polite, friendly, 150-word thank you email to Sarah. Make sure you mention our chat about her Q3 marketing strategy and ask her what time works for a call next Tuesday.
That's a lot of specific instruction.
It is. And if you give those specific instructions and provide that raw material, that intern will type up a perfectly structured, ready-to-send draft in about 2 seconds.
That quickly.
Instantly.
Yeah.
That is the fundamental shift. It's simply a digital tool that generates human-like text based entirely on the specific constraints and the context that you feed it.
That framing really makes a lot of sense. It shifts the burden. right?
How so?
Well, it means it's an assistant waiting for clear directions, rather than some magic box that's supposed to read your mind and do your job for you.
That's exactly it. It's not a mind reader.
But I want to push back a little bit on the daily utility, because we hear about so many tech tools that are supposed to, revolutionize our workflow.
And they usually end up being a gimmick.
Always a gimmick. You spend more time managing the tool than it actually saves you. If we're looking at the Otter RFP, NUDA, and Trumpet guides, what's the concrete proof that this changes the day-to-day reality of running a business?
I am so glad you brought that up, because the sources we're dissecting today aren't just theory. They are packed with real, concrete examples of daily impact. Let's start with something almost every business-to-business professional absolutely dreads.
Oh, yes. Writing proposals.
Writing proposals. According to the data and the workflows mapped out in the Otter FP source, crafting a great custom proposal manually doesn't just take a few hours. In many enterprise environments, it takes days, sometimes weeks.
Which is a massive bottleneck. I mean, you've got highly paid sales directors essentially doing data entry and document formatting for days on end just to get a bid out the door.
It's a terrible use of their time. And think about what you actually have to do to win a deal in a competitive market today. A generic, pretty PDF template just doesn't work anymore.
Buyers see right through it.
They are sophisticated. To win, you have to meticulously research the prospect so you can mirror their exact internal terminology.
Oh, like if they call their customers guests, your proposal better say guests.
Exactly. If you say clients and they say guests, you look like you don't get it. You have to iterate the context of all the past discovery conversations you've had. You have to articulate exactly how your specific product features map directly to their unique pain point.
And pull up old case studies.
Yes. Digging through your archives to find case studies that match their exact industry situation. Pulling all that disparate information together into a cohesive, persuasive narrative is a monumental cognitive task.
It really is. It's like writing a customized thesis paper every single time you want to win a new piece of business.
And the risk of human error is huge.
Uh-oh. The copy-paste errors.
You copy a section from an old proposal, and suddenly you realize you left the previous client's name in paragraph 4. We've all had that moment of sheer panic after hitting send.
My stomach just dropped thinking about it.
But with the workflows detailed in the Otter FP guide, that entire process changes structurally. Instead of spending days digging through old files and wrestling with formatting, you provide the AI with your raw notes, the client's requirements, and your product details.
And it builds it.
The system instantly drafts an executive summary that hits every single one of those specific pain points. It maps your features to their needs in seconds. It pulls the relevant case studies.
So it's doing the heavy lifting of the synthesis.
Yes. The time savings alone are fundamentally changing how sales teams operate. It allows them to actually spend time talking to clients rather than typing at them.
Okay, saving days of work on a massive, complex proposal is obviously a huge win. That's a high leverage activity.
Definitely.
But what about the micro interactions? What about the daily grind of just getting people to reply to emails?
The inbox battle.
Because I know a lot of people listening spend a huge portion of their week just trying to get a response from prospects. It can feel like you're sending messages into a black hole. Does the data show that AI actually helps with engagement, or does it just help us send more spam faster?
Here's where it gets really interesting, and this is vital, because you're right. If AI just lets you send 10,000 terrible emails instead of 100, nobody wins.
It just breaks the internet.
Right. But there's a specific statistic from McKinsey, which is heavily highlighted in the Trumpet source material, that answers this perfectly. Sales teams that are using AI to generate customized content are seeing a 15 to 20% increase in their response rates.
Wait, a 15 to 20% increase?
Yes.
That's not just a marginal improvement. If you're running a small business or managing a sales quota, a 20% bump in engagement could literally be the difference between hitting your revenue targets for the year or having to make cuts.
It's massive.
But why does it work so much better? If people know AI exists, aren't they more skeptical of outreach?
They are completely skeptical of generic outreach. But the reason those response rates jump is because the AI allows you to personalize your communication at a scale that was previously impossible for a human being.
Walk me through that.
Think about the old way. You might have 50 prospects to contact today. You don't have time to research all 50.
No way.
So you write one decent but slightly generic, just checking in email, and you blast it out to everyone. Maybe you swap out the first name. That's it.
The classic mail merge approach.
Yes.
And everyone who receives it knows exactly what it is.
Exactly. But now look at the new workflow. The AI helps you tailor each individual message to that specific person's industry, their specific recent company news, and their specific role. And it does it in the time it used to take you to write that one generic email.
So you're giving it parameters.
Right. If you tell the AI, draft a quick note to Mark, he's a logistics director, mention the recent supply chain disruptions in his region, and relate it to our inventory software. It takes 3 seconds.
And Mark gets an email that actually matters to him.
People respond to messages that feel like they were written specifically for them, demonstrating actual understanding of their world.
That makes total sense. If I get an email and it's clear the sender actually understands the very specific bottleneck I'm dealing with this week, I'm infinitely more likely to reply. Even if it's just to say, not right now, but let's talk in a month.
It shows respect for their time.
It does. But let's pivot slightly, because while sales pitches are important, I find that the emails that actually drain my energy the most aren't the pitches.
What are they?
It's the awkward administrative ones, the delicate conversations. Does the source material touch on those?
Yes. The awkward, delicate emails are actually where these tools shine the brightest, and the Nuda guide goes deep into this.
Really? Like what kind of emails?
Let's look at a very real scenario. Imagine you have to write an apology email because there was a significant service issue.
Oh, no.
Let's say you run a specialized consulting firm, and you missed a major deadline for a deliverables package. Or your software platform had an unexpected outage that affected a key client's operations. When you try to write that apology email yourself, your emotions are running incredibly high.
Oh, absolutely. I've been there. You're stressed, you're embarrassed, maybe you're even a little defensive because the outage wasn't technically your fault. Like it was a vendor's fault.
Exactly.
And you're terrified of saying the wrong thing and making the client even angrier.
It's agonizing. Your emotions cloud the writing process. You end up staring at the screen for an hour, typing a sentence, deleting it, trying to sound genuinely sorry, but not too sorry.
Trying to explain the vendor issue without sounding like you're making excuses.
You get completely paralyzed by the nuance. But here's the brilliant thing about using a large language model. The AI has no ego.
No ego.
It has no emotions. It doesn't feel stressed, defensive, or embarrassed.
That's a really profound point. It acts as an emotional buffer between your anxiety and your inbox.
Precisely. You simply go to the AI and say, draft an apology email to a VIP client because our platform was down for 4 hours yesterday. I need the tone to be calm, highly accountable, and specific.
So you're dictating the emotion.
You are. You tell it, explain that the server migration caused the issue, assure them we've implemented redundancies to prevent it happening again, and offer them a credit for this month's service.
And it just writes it.
The AI will instantly give you a structurally sound, professional, perfectly calm starting point. It removes your defensiveness from the equation entirely. You don't have to stare at a blank page while your heart rate spikes.
I love that. It takes the emotional labor out of the drafting process. You're just editing for accuracy rather than generating from a place of stress.
Exactly.
And I imagine that works for other awkward situations too, like the classic status check email.
Oh, the dreaded status check.
You know the one. A client promised to get back to you with an approval by Friday. It's now Tuesday afternoon. You desperately need an answer to move the project forward, but you really don't want to sound pushy, desperate, or annoying.
Hey, just bubbling this up to the top of your inbox email.
Yes.
We all hate writing those. It's a tightrope walk. The Nuda source actually provides a fantastic framework for exactly this.
What's the framework?
You tell the AI to write a polite status check email, explicitly limiting it to 90 to 120 words. You instruct it to be highly respectful, apply zero pressure, acknowledge that the client might be swamped with other priorities, but firmly ask for a quick timeline update.
And it finds that balance.
The AI instantly generates a message that strikes that perfect balance. It's firm, it drives the process forward, but it's entirely polite. When you multiply that energy savings across 10 different awkward emails a week, it is a complete game changer for your daily mental bandwidth.
Okay, the use case is undeniable. Saving days on complex proposals, getting a measurable 20% bump in engagement through scalable personalization, and outsourcing my email anxiety to a digital intern. I'm on board.
Awesome.
But let's transition into the actual execution, because I know a lot of professionals who hear this, get excited, open up a chat window, write me a sales email, get a terrible robotic response, and then close the window and never use it again.
It happens every day.
How do we actually do this? How do we move beyond the basic disappointing prompts, step by step?
Let's get into the mechanics. And You're right. The difference between a terrible result and a brilliant one is entirely based on how you set up the interaction. The sources we're looking at break this down into a very specific methodology.
Where do we start?
Step 1. The very first crucial concept, highlighted right away in the Otter RFP guide, is how you manage your workspace within the AI. Most people just open one chat window, like at chat.openai.com, and use it for everything forever.
Right. They ask it for a recipe, then they ask it to write code, then they ask it for a client email, all in one big scrolling thread. Why is that a problem?
Because these models use the entire history of that specific conversation thread as context for their next answer. They remember what you've been talking about.
Oh, I see.
If you spend 20 minutes deep in a thread using the AI to write a highly defensive, carefully worded apology to a furious customer about a broken product, the AI adapts to that defensive, cautious tone.
And if you stay in that thread?
If, in that exact same chat window, you suddenly say, now write a cheerful welcome email to a brand new prospect, the model gets confused. It might accidentally drag that cautious, slightly apologetic tone into your happy welcome email.
That makes perfect sense. It's like clearing the intern's desk before giving them a new assignment. You don't want the paperwork from the angry client mixed up with the paperwork for the new client.
That is a brilliant way to put it. The rule is separate your contexts, open a brand new chat thread for a new client, a new project, or a new task.
One task, one thread. That's a great foundational habit. What's the next step?
Step 2 is where the magic actually happens, providing the context. This is the biggest point of failure for users. As the Otter RFP guide explicitly points out, when you open a new chat, the AI is a blank slate.
It doesn't know anything.
It has no idea who you are, it doesn't know your job title, it doesn't know what complex software or service you're selling, and it certainly doesn't know the intricate details of the prospect you're targeting. You have to establish that reality for it.
So you really have to do the groundwork of introducing yourself and your business model every single time.
Exactly. You literally type out the parameters. I am the regional sales director for a cybersecurity firm. We specialize in endpoint protection for mid-size healthcare providers. I am writing an email to Sarah, who is the Chief Information Officer at a regional hospital network.
That sounds like a lot of typing.
But here is the secret that saves so much time. You do not have to write this context out beautifully. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need flowing paragraphs. You can literally just dump your chaotic, unedited stream of consciousness notes right into the chat box.
Really? So if I'm taking messy bullet point notes during a Zoom discovery call, like half sentences, typos, random thoughts, I don't have to clean those up before feeding them to the AI.
Not at all. In fact, raw data is often better because you aren't filtering out potentially useful details. These models are incredibly sophisticated pattern recognition engines. They're remarkably good at sorting through unstructured mess.
That is a huge relief.
The more raw context you provide, the exponentially better the final output will be. If you just give a vague instruction like write a follow-up email, the result will be a vague average email.
Makes sense.
But if you say, here is the entire rough transcript of my 45-minute discovery call with Sarah, please use this raw data to write the follow-up, the AI will pull out nuances you might have even forgotten.
Okay, I love the idea of just dumping the data and letting the machine sort it out. That's true delegation. But once the context is in there, what's step 3? How do we actually tell it what to do? Because I know there's a whole art to prompt engineering, but I also know most of us don't have the time to learn a whole new programming language just to send a message.
And you don't need to. The guides from Trumpet and Nuda boil this down to a few golden rules for crafting the instruction, the prompt itself. You've given it the context, now you give it the command.
What's the first golden rule?
The first rule is an absolute game changer. It's called role prompting, or the trick.
Role prompting. Okay, how does that work in practice?
Instead of just giving a blunt command like write an email, you start your prompt by assigning the AI a specific persona. You tell it exactly what role it needs to play.
Like an actor.
Exactly. You write, act as a professional bid writer, or act as a highly empathetic customer success manager, or act as a direct, no-nonsense operations director.
Why does adding that one sentence make such a difference? Does the AI actually understand what a professional bid writer is?
It's all about how these language models predict text. When you assign a persona, you are fundamentally narrowing the statistical probability of the words the AI will choose.
Narrowing the vocabulary.
Right. If you say, act as a professional bid writer, the model instantly accesses the vocabulary, the pacing, and the structural frameworks associated with professional proposal writing in its massive training data. It drops the casual fluff.
That's fascinating.
If you say, act as an empathetic customer success manager, It shifts its word choices towards supportive, collaborative language. It's literally like handing that intern a specific job description before they start typing. It focuses their output.
It's essentially a shortcut to tone management. By defining the role, you're implicitly defining the vocabulary. What are the other golden rules for the instruction phase?
Following right on the heels of the role is explicitly defining the tone and format constraints. You must dictate the vibe. Do you want it to be friendly, highly formal, direct and to the point, written in plain language for a non-technical audience?
You have to spell it out.
You have to dictate it. If your brand's voice is normally very casual and accessible, but you don't explicitly tell the AI to use a casual tone, it will likely default to sounding like a stiff legal document.
Why does it do that?
Because a huge portion of its training data for business communication is highly formal corporate text.
That's a great point. I've definitely had to generate things that start with "Dear esteemed colleague," which is something I would literally never say in a million years. It feels incredibly inauthentic.
Exactly. You have to steer it away from those defaults. The next critical rule is constraint. Always give the AI a strict word count or length limit.
Why is length so important?
Because if you leave it open-ended, the model has a strong tendency to ramble. It wants to be comprehensive, so it will write a 5-paragraph essay when all you needed was a quick check-in.
All right, nobody wants to read 5 paragraphs.
You have to explicitly say, keep this strictly under 150 words, or limit this to 3 short bullet points.
Constraints breed creativity, even for machines. Okay, so we assign a role, we dictate the tone, and we set a hard limit on length. Is there anything else about how we format the actual text of our request?
Yes, and this is a slightly more advanced formatting trick, but the Otter RFP guide highlights it as essential when you're dealing with complex information. You need to use delimiters to clearly separate your messy background notes from your actual commands.
Delimiters. That sounds a bit technical. Walk me through what a delimiter actually is in this context and why it's necessary.
It sounds technical, but it's incredibly simple. A delimiter is just a symbol or a set of symbols that acts like a visual fence.
A visual fence.
Think about how we use quotation marks in a novel. When you're reading a book, the quotation marks tell your brain exactly where the narrator's description ends and a character's spoken dialogue begins. It separates the 2 types of text.
Okay, I'm with you.
In ChatGPT, when you're giving it a big block of messy notes alongside your specific instructions, the AI can sometimes get confused about which part is the instruction and which part is the data it's supposed to analyze.
I see. So if my messy notes say, tell the client the project is delayed, the AI might think that's my instruction for the email, rather than just a fact from the meeting.
Exactly. So the guides recommend using specific symbols, like 3 quotation marks in a row or 3 dashes, to fence off your data.
How does that look in the prompt?
Your prompt would structurally look like this. You start with the command, act as a friendly sales rep, write a 100-word follow-up email based strictly on my notes below. Here are the notes. And then you put quote, quote, quote.
Start of the fence.
Right. Next, you paste your messy bullet points. Client loved the software demo, but is worried about integration time. Needs to make a decision by Friday. Then you close it with quote, quote, quote.
The end of the fence.
Those delimiters act as a hard boundary. They tell the system, everything inside this fence is just raw data for you to read. Everything outside the fence is the instruction you must follow. It dramatically reduces errors.
That's a brilliant structural habit to build. It keeps the inputs clean, which obviously leads to cleaner outputs. Okay. We've talked abstractly about the rules: role, tone, length, delimiters. I think to really cement this, we need to look at step 4, some actual real-world examples.
Let's do it.
If I'm listening to this and I want to steal some proven prompts from the source material to use today, what do the Trumpet and NUDA guides suggest? Let's go through some specific scenarios.
The sources provide some incredibly powerful, battle-tested frameworks. Let's start with the hardest thing in business, the cold outreach email.
Oh yeah, the hardest.
You're trying to grab the attention of someone who has no idea who you are. Here's a synthesis of a highly effective prompt based on the Trumpet methodology.
Let's hear it.
You type. Act as a top-performing business development manager. Write a cold outreach email to John, the VP of Operations. Use the notes provided in the delimiters to understand his company's recent merger. Keep the email strictly under 150 words. The opening sentence must focus entirely on a benefit to him, not a description of what we do. Use a conversational peer-to-peer tone, and with a clear, low-friction call to action asking if he has 10 minutes next week.
Wow, that is incredibly precise. You're controlling the exact architecture of the email. You're dictating that the opening sentence must be benefit-driven, which forces the AI to avoid that classic, boring opening of, "Hi, my name is X and my company does Y."
Exactly. You are engineering the psychology of the email, not just the grammar.
Give me another one.
Let's look at a scenario from the NUTA guide. This is for the post-demo follow-up. You just spent an hour showing a prospect your complex platform. You've got the auto-generated transcript from the meeting.
A massive wall of text.
You paste that massive wall of text into the chat, use your delimiters, and then apply this prompt. Review the provided meeting transcript. Identify the 2 specific features the prospect seemed most enthusiastic about. Also, identify their primary objection regarding our pricing structure.
So it's hunting for information.
Yes. And then you add, draft a 200-word follow-up email that warmly thanks them for their time, briefly highlights those 2 specific features, directly but politely addresses the pricing concern, and outlines the next steps we agreed upon.
That completely changes the workflow. Instead of me having to reread or rewatch my own meeting, manually hunt for the moments they smiled, remember exactly how they phrased their pricing objection, and then figure out how to elegantly weave all of that together. The AI is doing all the heavy lifting of synthesis.
It's extracting the signal from the noise instantly.
It's incredible.
Let's look at one more advanced example, heavily emphasized in the Trumpet playbook, which is absolutely vital for modern sales. It's the concept of the sequence.
Right, because one email is never enough.
We all know that. In business, it often takes 5, 6, or 7 touch points to get a reply. But writing a multi-step sequence is tedious, and it's really hard to not sound like you're just nagging them.
I loathe writing follow-up sequences. It always devolves into just checking in again, or did you see my last email? It feels desperate, and honestly, it provides 0 value to the person reading it. How do you instruct an AI to handle a sequence elegantly?
You command it to build a value-driven narrative over time. You use a prompt like this. Act as a strategic advisor. Create a sequence of 3 follow-up emails for a prospect who hasn't responded to our initial proposal. Space the conceptual timing of these emails 5 days apart. Crucially, do not just check in.
I love that you tell it what not to do.
You have to. Then you give it the sequence. In email 1, provide a brief, helpful industry insight related to their sector. In email 2, share a 2-sentence success story from a similar client who solved the same problem. In email 3, ask a direct, polite question about whether this initiative is still a priority for this quarter. Keep every single email under 120 words. Maintain a highly professional, consultative tone, and slowly increase the urgency without ever resorting to guilt trips or pushy language.
That is genuinely brilliant. It forces the AI to construct a campaign where every single touch point actually delivers a piece of value, an insight, a case study, rather than just demanding attention.
Exactly.
It changes the dynamic from a vendor begging for a reply to an advisor offering consistent expertise. That alone is worth the price of admission.
And the guides are packed with these micro workflows. Prompts for scheduling, where you instruct the AI to parse your calendar and offer 3 time slots cleanly formatted. Prompts for the missing attachment follow-up.
Oh, where you accidentally sent an email without the file.
And you need a quick 50-word note that makes light of the human error without making you look incompetent. You just tell the AI to do it.
It's clear that the applications are limitless once you understand the underlying mechanics of prompting. But I want to elevate this conversation a bit to step 5. The tools ecosystem.
Let's go there.
Everything we've discussed so far assumes that I am sitting at my computer, manually copying text out of my email, opening a new tab for ChatGPT, pasting it in, typing out these complex instructions, copying the final result, going back to my email client, and pasting it back in.
Which is a lot of switching tabs.
That's fine for 1 or 2 emails. But if I'm doing that 30 times a day, the copying and pasting becomes its own form of manual busywork. The guides from NUTA, Otter RFP, and Trumpet imply that we're moving beyond the simple chat interface. How do these tools actually integrate into a professional workflow so I'm not just a professional copy and paster?
That is the crucial next step in the evolution of how we work. We are moving from manual prompting to autonomous workflow integration. While doing it manually in the web interface is the best way to learn how the model thinks, you're right, it doesn't scale.
So what are these other tools?
There is an entire ecosystem designed to remove the friction. Let's break down the categories mentioned in our sources. Let's start with the foundational layer, automation platforms like Zapier or Make.
Zapier, I've heard of that. What does it actually do?
Think of these platforms as digital glue. They act like the nervous system of your tech stack. They automatically connect your email inbox directly to ChatGPT.
Give me an example in plain English.
You set a trigger. The trigger is a new email arrives in your inbox from a specific VIP client. The action is Zapier automatically sends that email's text to the AI, applies your pre-written prompt-like draft, a polite response, and then sends that drafted text right back into your email client as a saved draft.
So I don't touch anything. I just open my email, and sitting in my drafts folder is a highly contextual AI-written response waiting for me to review and hit send.
Exactly. It completely eliminates the manual context switching. Next, let's look at Nuda. This is a tool that records your online meetings.
Like a transcription bot.
But much smarter. It securely joins your Zoom meetings as an invisible participant. It records the audio, generates a flawless transcript, and uses its integrated AI to instantly identify action items, key objections, and decisions.
So it takes the notes for me.
And it doesn't stop at note-taking. It autonomously drafts the tailored follow-up emails based on exactly what was said, formatted to your exact standards, ready for your approval the second the call ends.
That is a massive leap forward. You focus 100% of your attention on the client during the call, knowing the administrative follow-up is already being handled in the background. What about the massive proposals we discussed earlier? How does AutoRFP work?
AutoRFP is a service that securely uses your company's past data to automatically write massive, complex business proposals.
How does it know our past data?
It connects directly to your internal databases. It reads every successful proposal, every security questionnaire, and every technical document your company has ever written.
So it builds a massive, searchable index of the company's collective brain.
Precisely. And then, when a new 100-page request for proposal comes in from a prospect, AutoRFP searches your historical archive, finds how you've successfully answered similar questions in the past, and drafts a new, highly accurate response that perfectly matches your company's established voice.
That means a new hire can generate a highly technical proposal on day one because they are leveraging the historical expertise of the entire organization. And finally, Trumpet. How does that fit in?
Trumpet is a digital workspace where you and your buyers can share documents and collaborate in one place.
Like a dedicated portal for the deal.
Exactly. Historically, we've sent long emails with 5 different PDF attachments. Those get lost in spam filters. Trumpet creates a secure, personalized web room. The AI helps generate the content, but the content lives in this dynamic digital room. You share one link, the buyer goes there to see the proposal, watch a demo, review the pricing, and chat with you.
It centralizes the entire buying journey. It really paints a picture of a completely transformed workflow. But as with any profound technological shift, there are real anxieties.
Of course there are.
I want to spend some time exploring the common beginner questions, the things listeners are definitely thinking right now but might be too embarrassed to ask.
Let's do a rapid-fire Q&A. Hit me.
Okay, question 1. The biggest fear. If I use this to draft my client communications, will this make me sound like a robot? Will my clients know?
Yes. They absolutely will know. If you just copy and paste the very first draft it spits out without reviewing it, you will sound like a robot.
So how do we fix that?
You have to add your own real anecdotes, your own specific voice, and check the facts. AI plus human review equals the best result. Never hit send without reading it yourself and tweaking it to sound like you.
That's reassuring. It's a rough draft, not a final product. Question 2. When we use AI to write sales emails, how long should these emails actually be? Because it feels like the AI always wants to write a novel.
Short, incredibly short. 100 to 150 words maximum.
Really? That short?
Yes. Think about how your client is reading it. They are likely skimming on a phone while walking between meetings. If they see 4 dense paragraphs, they will just close it. You have to force the AI to be brief.
Got it. Keep it short. Question 3. And this is the one that causes the most hesitation. Is it safe to put my business data, like client notes or meeting transcripts, into these AI tools?
This is critical. By default, the free consumer version, like the free tier of ChatGPT, might use your chat to train its brain, so your data could be absorbed into the public model.
So I shouldn't put secret client data in the free version?
Right. You should check the privacy controls and turn that training feature off. However, if you use the paid enterprise versions or the direct API connections, your data is kept totally private. They're legally ring-fenced.
That nuance is so important. For casual stuff, free is fine. For proprietary client work, you need the secure enterprise tools.
Exactly.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. We've gone from the intern analogy to the quantifiable impacts to the mechanics of prompting and all these amazing tools.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. I know that for someone who is just starting to truly map this onto their own workflow, it can still feel like a massive mountain to climb. So if a professional listening to this deep dive is sitting at their desk right now, feeling inspired but maybe slightly overwhelmed, where do they start? What is the one clear, encouraging action a complete beginner should take today? No complicated lists.
I agree completely. Ignore the complex tool integrations for now. Don't worry about Zapier or digital sales rooms today. I want you to take one simple action.
What is it?
After your next client interaction, whether it's a Zoom call or just reading a long email from a prospect, just open the free ChatGPT website.
Okay, open the site.
Paste your rough bullet point notes into the chat and type. Turn these notes into a polite 100-word follow-up email.
That's it.
That's it. Just try it that one time. Hit enter and watch how it instantly organizes your chaotic thoughts into a professional framework. Just experience the relief of not having to stare at a blank screen. See how much time it saves you. Once you feel that reduction in cognitive load, you'll understand why this is a fundamental upgrade to how we work.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect entry point. Just try it once. But, as we wrap up this deep dive, sitting here thinking about the trajectory of all this,
Yeah.
it brings up a really fascinating, almost philosophical thought for the future.
What's the thought?
Well, think about it. If everyone in the business world starts using AI to write perfectly polite, structurally flawless, meticulously researched emails, won't that perfection eventually become its own kind of white noise?
That's an interesting point.
Will the most effective way to grab someone's attention in the future actually be to send a messy, imperfect, obviously human message? Like, will a slight typo become the new proof of authenticity in a sea of AI perfection?
Now, that is a profound thought for you to ponder. What will professionalism even look like in 5 years? That is definitely a deep dive for another day. Thank you for exploring this with me, and thank you all for joining us on this exploration of the tools reshaping our daily work. We'll see you next time.